The sharpest sound in that glass-walled law office wasn't the attorney clearing his throat or the soft shuffle of papers. It was my mother's laugh, light, effortless, practiced, like the whole room had been built for her amusement. She didn't even try to hide it when the attorney slid the first envelope across the table to my sister, Elise. Elise's nails were perfect, her posture perfect, her expression carefully neutral in the way that always meant she was pleased. She accepted the envelope with both hands like she was receiving an award. My stepfather, Patrick, sat back with his arms folded, already wearing the look he used when he thought he'd won an argument before it started. I sat in the same chair I'd been in since I was 12 at every family meeting, every discussion, every moment where decisions got made around me. Back straight, hands folded, quiet enough to be forgettable. The attorney read through the will in a voice that tried to sound sympathetic and neutral. It was a tone I recognized. People used it when they didn't want to get involved. Elise was named beneficiary of the investment account. My mother, Kendra, was given the condo in Clearwater and the jewelry collection she always pretended she didn't care about. Patrick, who had never even been related by blood, was granted a payout for consulting services tied to the late Ms. Elena Mercer's estate planning and business transitions. That part made him smile like he'd just been told he was clever. Then the attorney paused. He glanced down at his notes, then at me, and for the first time that morning someone actually looked like they weren't sure what would happen next. "Maya Rook," he said. My mother's smile widened like she was watching a joke land. Patrick's gaze flicked over me quickly, like checking an item off a list. Elise didn't even look up. The attorney reached into a folder and set one small object on the table in front of me. It wasn't an envelope. It wasn't a check. It was a plain, scuffed plastic card on a key ring. The kind you tap at a gate. On the front, faded from use, were the words, Mercer Storage Access Card. My mother actually covered her mouth like she was trying to be polite about laughing, and somehow that made it worse. Patrick leaned forward, just enough to perform interest, and said, "Well, there you go, something practical." Kendra tilted her head and looked at me like she was studying a stain on a blouse. Elena always did have a flair for drama. Elise finally glanced at the card, then at me, and her mouth twitched into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Guess she wanted you to have a hobby." The attorney cleared his throat again. "There's also a note." He slid a single folded paper toward me. It wasn't in an envelope. It wasn't sealed. It was just folded cleanly in half and written in the slanted, precise handwriting I'd seen on sticky notes and margins and the backs of receipts for years. Kendra's laugh stopped in the middle like someone had pinched the sound off. Patrick's fingers tightened around his pen. Elise's smile froze. And I understood something then, with a cold clarity that made the room feel suddenly too warm. They knew that handwriting. They knew exactly who Elena Mercer had been when she wasn't playing the part they liked. I opened the note. "Maya, if you're reading this, you did the one thing they never expected you to do. You showed up and you listened. Don't argue with them. Don't announce anything. Go to Unit 418. Call the number on the back of this note from the office phone at the facility. Not your cell, not your home, not where they can track you. Trust paperwork, not personalities." Under it was a number and one final line, pressed harder into the paper like she'd paused and decided it was worth the ink. "And Maya, if they try to scare you, remember, people who are innocent don't rush." My throat tightened, but I didn't let it show. I folded the note and slipped it into my pocket like it was nothing, like it was another chore. Another small thing I was expected to manage quietly. Kendra recovered first because she always did. She reached for her purse, already standing. "Well, that's settled." Patrick looked at the attorney. "We'll have our counsel review the consulting clause," he said, casual, like he owned the air. Elise stood too, smoothing her skirt, eyes bright with victory. "Are we going to lunch?" No one asked if I was coming. No one ever asked. I waited until they were halfway to the door before I moved. I stood slowly, like I had all the time in the world. I nodded once at the attorney, not gratitude, not friendliness, just acknowledgement, and walked out behind them. In the elevator, Kendra stared at her reflection in the mirrored wall, adjusting a strand of hair like the world might collapse if she didn't look correct. Patrick scrolled his phone. Elise texted someone with her screen angled away from me. They didn't speak to me, but I could feel the shape of their assumptions filling the small space. Maya got the storage unit. Maya got the leftovers. Maya got the mess. Maya got what didn't matter. By the time we reached the lobby, Kendra finally turned toward me like she'd remembered I existed. "Don't do anything stupid," she said lightly, the way you might warn a child not to touch a hot pan. "If there's junk in there, don't bring it home. Just dispose of it." Patrick added, "And don't sign anything. Those places love to trap you with fees." Elise gave me a small smile, almost kind. "If you find old photos, I'd like them. Anything with Elena's face, the good ones." I looked at them, the three of them, standing close together like a single organism, and I realized they weren't just confident. They were relaxed. They believed the story was finished. So I did what I had trained myself to do my entire life. I said nothing. I walked past them and out into the street, the winter air biting my cheeks hard enough to keep me awake. I didn't go home. I didn't go to my tiny apartment across town, either, because home had never been a place I trusted. I drove to a coffee shop in a strip mall 2 exits away and sat in a corner with my back to the wall. I watched the door. I watched reflections in windows. I watched cars slow down and speed up. It wasn't paranoia. It was practice. When you grow up being treated like a problem, you learn to read rooms before you enter them. You learn to measure moods before you speak. The storage facility was 20 minutes outside the city on a road that turned industrial and lonely. Chain-link fences, warehouses, a tire shop with a billboard that had been sun-faded into illegibility. Mercer Storage looked like every storage facility. Beige metal, security cameras, a keypad gate, a small office with fluorescent lighting that made everyone look a little sick. I sat in my car for a full minute and forced myself to breathe normally. Then I walked in. Behind the counter was a woman in her 50s with a sharp haircut and tired eyes. Her name tag said, Lena. She looked up at me, then at the access card in my hand, and something in her expression changed, interest sharpening into caution. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "I need access to Unit 418. Lena didn't reach for paperwork right away. She studied my face like she was trying to place me. Then she nodded once, slowly, like she'd found the file in her head. "You're the one Elena talked about," she said, not a question. My stomach tightened. "She did." Lena leaned forward just slightly. "She said if you ever came alone, I was to give you the office phone and then pretend I had to check the back room. That's all she said. No details." My pulse kicked hard in my throat. I held up the note without showing her the number. "She told me to call someone from the office phone." Lena's mouth pressed into a line. "Okay." She reached under the counter and slid a landline phone toward me like she was sliding a weapon. Then she stood, picked up a clipboard, and walked through a door marked employees only. I lifted the receiver. My fingers felt too cold to bend properly. I dialed the number. It rang once. Then someone answered, and the voice on the other end was calm in a way that made me want to cry from relief. "Maya," the voice said, "if this is you, say nothing for a second, just listen." I didn't speak. "Good," the voice continued. "My name is Dominic Hale. I'm Elena Mercer's attorney of record for her foundation compliance work. She left instructions for this call. You're at Mercer Storage, correct? Unit 418. I swallowed. "Yes." "Are you alone?" "Yes." "Is anyone with you in the office?" "No." "Okay, here's what's going to happen. You are going to open Unit 418. You are going to take exactly 3 items. No more, no less. There will be a black lockbox, a manila envelope with red tape, and a small hardback notebook. Do not open the lockbox at the facility. Do not open the envelope in your car. Go somewhere you can close a door. A motel is fine. A library study room is fine. Not your mother's house. Not your apartment if they know where you live." My skin prickled. "Why?" Dominic exhaled, and for the first time his calm sounded strained. "Because Elena believed your mother and stepfather have been taking money from her foundation through vendor padding and contract manipulation. She didn't have the final proof she needed while she was alive, but she arranged for you to find it without having to fight them directly. My vision narrowed. The words felt unreal, too big for the fluorescent office. Dominic kept going steady. Do not confront them. Do not threaten them. Do not hint. If they suspect you have proof, they'll try to take it, and if they can't take it, they'll try to destroy your credibility. I gripped the receiver tighter. Why me? Because you were never on their team, Dominic said simply. And because you pay attention. Elena trusted that. He paused. One more thing, has anyone in your family already attempted to access that unit? I hesitated. I don't know. Ask Lena, he said. Then call me back from the same phone. The line clicked dead. I stood there for a second holding the receiver like my hands had forgotten what to do with it. When Lena returned, she didn't ask what the call was about. She just looked at me, eyes sharp. I set the phone down. Has anyone tried to access Unit 418 recently? Lena's expression tightened. Yesterday, she said. Your mother came in with a man, not your stepfather, some other guy. She said she was cleaning up Elena's affairs. She tried to get me to let her in without the access card. She got angry when I refused. My heart lurched. Did she come back? I asked. Twice, Lena said. Different times, different outfit, same smile, same threats. My hands went numb at the fingertips. Lena reached under the counter and slid me a set of forms. Elena prepaid the unit for a year, she said. She also left a note authorizing you access. I'm supposed to make a copy of your ID and then pretend I didn't see anything. I stared at her. Why would you do that? Lena's mouth twitched. Because Elena paid my son's community college tuition when he got sick and couldn't work. That's why. Something hot and painful rose behind my eyes, but I shoved it down. Not here, not now. I signed what Lena pointed to, gave my ID, took the access code, and walked out. The hallway between units smelled like dust and hot metal. My footsteps echoed too loudly. The air felt thinner with every step as my mind tried to catch up with my body. Unit 418 was halfway down, near a corner where the security camera's little red light blinked steadily. I tapped the access card against the lock panel. A green light flashed. The roll-up door rattled as I lifted it. Inside, the unit was clean. Too clean. Not crammed with furniture or junk, not chaotic, but staged in neat rows like someone had prepared it for a specific person. 3 items sat on a folding table right in the center, like an offering. A black lockbox. A manila envelope wrapped in red tape. A small hardback notebook. Nothing else. No clutter. No temptation to rummage. Just a straight line from Elena's instructions to my hands. I pulled the door down halfway behind me, not closed, just enough to make the space feel smaller. Then I stood there and let myself feel it for 1 second. Not grief, exactly. Not shock. A cold understanding that the weirdness of my childhood, the way my mother managed Elena like she was a resource, the way Patrick always seemed to know which meetings mattered and which didn't, wasn't just emotional cruelty. It was strategy. I grabbed the items quickly and shoved them into a tote bag I'd brought without thinking too hard about why. My instincts had been louder than my logic. I didn't open anything. I locked the unit. I walked back to my car without looking around too obviously, because obviousness makes you vulnerable. I drove straight to a motel off the highway, one of those places with thin curtains and a parking lot that always smells like stale rain. At the front desk, the clerk didn't care who I was. That was exactly what I needed. In the room, I put the tote bag on the bed and stood there staring at it like it might move on its own. Then I opened the notebook first because it felt like the safest thing, the least explosive. The pages were filled with Elena's handwriting, tight, organized, furious in a controlled way. It wasn't a diary. It was a map. Vendor names, dates, amounts, notes like, split invoices to stay under review threshold. Patrick used urgent continuity language again. Kendra pushes board fatigue angle. Elise copied on email why? My throat went tight at my sister's name. Elise, my perfect sister. My sister who had always been positioned like a prize. I flipped through more pages and saw printouts clipped in. emails, meeting minutes, approvals. Elena had annotated them with arrows and underlines, turning polite corporate language into something naked. Then I picked up the manila envelope with the red tape. My fingers hesitated on the tape. I pulled it open carefully. Inside were documents, thick and crisp, the kind of papers that make your stomach drop because you can feel how official they are. There were bank records showing transfers from the foundation to a vendor called LARKWELL Community Services. There were invoices, clean letterhead, generic service descriptions, rounded totals. There were approvals signed electronically under board consent forms, and attached to one packet was a business registration document. Registered agent, P. Rook Consulting. Patrick, my stepfather. The room tilted slightly. I sat down on the edge of the bed and forced myself to read everything twice because my brain wanted to reject it as impossible. But it wasn't impossible. It was exactly the kind of thing Patrick would do. Build a system that looked legitimate unless you knew where to press. I opened the lockbox last. It was heavier than it looked. Inside were 2 flash drives and a sealed letter addressed to me in Elena's handwriting. My name looked strange on the envelope, like it belonged to someone else. I opened it. Maya, if you're holding this letter, it means you were given the smallest thing at the table and still had the courage to pick it up. I'm sorry your family made you learn silence the hard way. I watched it happen for years, and I regret that I didn't intervene sooner. I told myself it wasn't my place. Then I realized that's what people say when they benefit from staying comfortable. Here is the truth. Kendra and Patrick didn't just help me. They used me. They used the foundation. They used my reputation to open doors and pull money through them quietly. I tried to stop it with meetings and warnings and polite language. They treated politeness like permission. So I arranged this. The flash drive labeled board contains a video statement and supporting files. The flash drive labeled audit contains the raw documentation Dominic will need to begin formal action. I could have left this to my attorney alone, but attorneys can be delayed. They can be threatened. They can be negotiated with. You cannot. They don't know how to handle someone they've dismissed for years. That's your advantage. Don't waste it. I did not leave you this responsibility because it's fair. I left it because it's necessary. If you choose to do nothing, I understand. Your life is your own, but if you choose to act, do it cleanly, do it quietly, do it completely. And one last thing, Elise is not the architect. She is the display. Don't confuse those two. Elena. I read the letter again, slower, letting each sentence land like a weight. My hands were steady, and that scared me. I thought I would be shaking. I thought I would be angry. But anger would have made this feel like a family fight. This wasn't a family fight. This was fraud, and fraud has rules. I plugged in the audit drive first. Folders opened on my laptop like a well-built filing cabinet. Each folder had subfolders labeled by year and category: VNDORS, board consents, bank records, email chains. Elena hadn't just suspected. She had documented. I spent hours building a timeline, not because I liked suffering, but because facts become powerful when they're arranged. One odd payment is a mistake. 50 odd payments in the same pattern are a design. I searched for thresholds, amounts that stayed just below internal review triggers. I matched invoice dates to board meetings. I compared wording across email chains and saw it. Patrick used the same phrases over and over like he had a script. Continuity, urgent service gap, time-sensitive community impact. Language designed to make people feel guilty for asking questions. Kendra's contributions were different. She didn't write scripts. She managed emotions. She pushed meetings forward when the board got tired. She suggested streamlining oversight. She made disagreement feel rude. I saw her name in emails as the friendly nudge, the just circling back, the we don't want to hold up services. Elise appeared too, copied on emails, attending gala events, posting about community impact with photos that turned poverty into aesthetic. I stopped and stared at my screen, thinking about my sister's perfect smile at the will reading. Elena's line echoed, Elise is the display, not innocent, not guilty display. I forced myself to stay in the work. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. Kendra, I let it ring. Then Patrick. Then Elise. I watched the screen light up and go dark again, each time my stomach tightening. A text came through from Elise. Where are you? Mom's worried. Just tell us what you're doing. I stared at it for a long time. Then I turned my phone off. In the morning, I called Dominic from the motel room phone like he'd instructed, and he didn't waste time with comfort. Good, he said after I told him what I'd found. Now we do this the right way. He gave me an address, Elena's foundation office downtown. Conference room B, he told me to arrive early and bring everything. I asked him one question, the only question that mattered. If my mother and Patrick realize I have proof, can they take it from me? Dominic paused. They can try, he said. Which is why we're going to make sure your proof isn't a single object in your possession. I understood. I spent the next 2 hours making copies, cloud backups, encrypted drives, printed packets. I didn't rely on one method because people like Patrick rely on single points of failure. Then I drove downtown with the tote bag buckled into the passenger seat like it was alive. The foundation office was brighter than I expected. Sunlight spilled onto the polished floor. Photos of scholarship recipients lined the walls, real faces, real names, people who had been helped because Elena believed money should move outward, not upward. Dominic met me in the lobby. He was younger than I expected, early 40s maybe, with a calm face and eyes that missed nothing. He didn't hug me, he didn't treat me like a victim, he treated me like a person holding leverage. Conference room, he said, this way. Inside, there were 3 board members already seated and one woman I didn't recognize, typing on a laptop with the intense focus of someone who doesn't get paid to be impressed. Dominic introduced her as Priya, the forensic accountant. Priya nodded at me once. Hi, Maya, she said. I'm glad you came in before this got worse. Before it got worse, as if it hadn't already been my entire life. Dominic laid out the plan, simple and brutal. There would be a special board session that afternoon. Kendra and Patrick would be invited under the pretense of reviewing Elena's final transition documents. Elise, too, because she was now a named beneficiary and involved in the public-facing side. They would walk into a room expecting control. Instead, they would walk into a room expecting paperwork and meet paperwork that fought back. The meeting started at 2. At 1:45, I sat in the conference room with my hands folded, watching sunlight move across the table. At 1:50, Dominic placed a folder in front of each board member and said quietly, "No matter what they say, do not argue. Let the documents do the work." At 1:58, the door opened. Kendra came in first, dressed like she was attending a luncheon, smiling too brightly. Patrick followed, carrying a briefcase and the expression of someone who considers himself the smartest man in any room. Elise came behind them, eyes scanning, smile ready. Their smiles changed when they saw me. Kendra's bright expression faltered for half a second, small, but I saw it. Patrick's eyes narrowed. Elise's mouth opened slightly, then closed, like she'd swallowed a word. Kendra recovered quickly and walked toward me with her arms half open, like she planned to hug me. "Maya," she said, voice dripping with warmth that made my skin crawl. "There you are, we've been calling." I didn't stand. I didn't hug her. I just looked at her and said, "Sit down." It was the first time in my life I'd given her an instruction. Her smile froze. She laughed lightly like she wanted to pretend it was a joke. "Okay, sweetheart." Patrick pulled out a chair hard enough that it scraped. Dominic stood at the head of the table like a man about to read terms and conditions. "Thank you all for coming," he said. "This is a compliance meeting." Patrick's smile sharpened. "Compliance? That seems unnecessary. Elena's gone. The estate is settled." Dominic didn't blink. "It's not settled," he said. "Not in the way you think." He clicked a remote and the screen at the front of the room lit up. Elena appeared, seated at a desk, wearing a plain sweater and no jewelry. No performance. Just her face, older, tired, and clear-eyed. "If you're seeing this," Elena said, "it means I'm dead and you're pretending to be surprised." Kendra's face went tight. Patrick's mouth twitched. Elise stiffened. Elena continued, calm as a judge. I built this foundation to fund healthcare and education in this county. Over the last 4 years, funds have been diverted, not by accident, by design. Patrick leaned forward. This is ridiculous, he said, already reaching for anger like it was a shield. She was unwell at the end. She was paranoid. On the screen, Elena didn't react because she wasn't in the room to be intimidated. She said, I'm leaving a record, not a rumor. Dominic clicked again. A spreadsheet filled the screen. Priya's work, rows and rows of payments. Vendor names, dates, amounts, patterns. Dominic's voice stayed even. These payments were approved under expedited processes. Many are split to remain below internal review thresholds. Several vendors share addresses. Several share registration agents. Patrick laughed too loud. Coincidences. Dominic looked at him like he was looking at a stain on glass. One vendor, Dominic said, is registered to P. Rook Consulting. Patrick's smile vanished. Kendra's eyes darted to Patrick fast, instinctive. Elise's face went pale. Dominic slid a document across the table toward Patrick. That's the registration record, he said. This one is the bank record. This one is the invoice set. This one is the approval trail. Patrick didn't touch the papers. He stared at them like they might burn him. Kendra forced a laugh. This is insane, she said. Patrick did legitimate consulting. Elena knew that. She asked him for help. Dominic nodded once. She did, he said. And then she documented where that help turned into self-payment. Kendra's voice sharpened. You're accusing us of theft. Dominic didn't raise his voice. I'm presenting evidence of misappropriation, he said. The board will decide next steps. Depending on what you do next, those steps may include a report to state charity regulators and law enforcement. Patrick stood up fast, chair scraping. You can't do this, he snapped. You don't have authority, Dominic lifted a hand. Sit down, he said. Patrick froze, not because he respected Dominic, but because the board members were watching him and Patrick cared more about optics than reality. He sat. Kendra turned toward the board members, eyes bright, voice suddenly softer. Please, she said. We all loved Elena. This is grief, misinterpretation. If there were administrative errors, Priya spoke for the first time. These aren't administrative errors, she said. They're structured. Her tone wasn't emotional. It was technical, which made it devastating. Elise finally spoke, voice thin. Maya, she said, looking at me like she was trying to drag me back into the old family structure. What is this? Why are you doing this? Kendra's head whipped toward Elise. Elise, don't! But Dominic cut in smoothly. Maya isn't doing this, he said. Elena did this. Elena set this in motion. Maya simply delivered what Elena prepared. Kendra's eyes snapped back to me, and the warmth drained out completely. You went through her things, she said, accusation sharp as a knife. You stole from her unit. I felt something inside me go very still. No, I said quietly. You tried too. Kendra's mouth opened, then closed. Dominic slid one more document onto the table, this one stamped and signed. And now, he said, we address the will provisions you all seemed so pleased about yesterday. Patrick's eyes narrowed. The will is final, he said. Dominic nodded. It is, he said, and it contains a governance clause you either didn't read or didn't understand. He looked at the board. Elena Mercer transferred controlling authority of the Foundation Oversight Committee to Maya Rook, effective immediately upon her death. This is lawful under the Foundation's bylaws and the trust instrument attached. Kendra made a sound like air leaving a punctured tire. No, she whispered, and it wasn't denial, it was fear. Patrick's jaw worked. That can be contested, he said, voice harsh. Dominic smiled slightly, not kind. It can, he said, but Elena anticipated that. He clicked the remote again. On the screen, a single page appeared, bold at the top. Contest clause, Foundation protection provision. Dominic read it out loud slowly, making sure the words didn't slip past anyone. If Kendra Rook or Patrick Rook, directly or indirectly, contests or attempts to delay the governance transfer, all discretionary estate distributions to them are suspended pending investigation, and all documentary evidence is released to state regulators. Patrick's face drained of color. Kendra's hands trembled, then she clasped them together hard enough to turn her knuckles white. Elise stared at the screen, then at me, like she was seeing me for the first time and realizing I wasn't positioned behind her anymore. The room went quiet in that way that happens when someone with power realizes the power has moved and they can't stop it with words. Kendra tried anyway. "Maya," she said, voice pleading now, reshaped into something softer. "You don't understand. You're going to ruin everything. You're going to ruin our family." I looked at her, really looked, and I realized the phrase "our family" had never included me unless she needed it to. "You ruined it," I said calmly. "I'm just reading what you wrote." Patrick's eyes flashed. "You think you're smart." He hissed. "You think you can run a foundation? You can barely—" Dominic's voice snapped like a door locking. "Enough," he said. "This meeting is over." Priya closed her laptop. The board members stood, not hurried, not dramatic, just finished. Dominic looked at Kendra and Patrick. "Your counsel will be contacted," he said. "You are not to remove documents from the office. You are not to contact staff. You are not to contact board members. Any attempt to tamper will be documented." Kendra's breath hitched like she wanted to scream but couldn't find a safe audience. Patrick's hands clenched into fists, then slowly loosened as if he remembered fists don't win against paper trails. Elise stayed seated, staring at the table. As Kendra and Patrick walked out, Kendra turned back once, eyes glittering with rage and humiliation. "You were always ungrateful," she said, voice low, venomous. "Elena only liked you because you reminded her of herself." I watched her go and felt something strange, not pain, relief. Because if Elena liked me because I reminded her of herself, then maybe the thing my family called my weakness, quiet, careful, observant, wasn't weakness at all. Maybe it was the only reason any of this had been possible. After they left, Elise didn't move for a long time. Finally, she looked at me and whispered, "Did you know?" I thought about my childhood, about the way Kendra and Patrick had shaped rooms so that I occupied the smallest corner. About the way Elise had learned to accept attention like oxygen, never questioning who was being deprived of it. "I didn't know the details," I said. "I knew the feeling." Elise swallowed. Her eyes were wet, but I couldn't tell if it was grief or fear. "Are they going to jail?" she asked. "That's not up to me," I said. It was the truth, and it was also the boundary I needed. Because I wasn't doing this to punish people who hurt me. I was doing it because money meant to help strangers had been treated like a personal buffet, and someone had to stop it. Over the next weeks, everything moved the way real accountability moves, slowly, officially, relentlessly. There were audits. There were interviews. There were lawyers who spoke in careful language that tried to make theft sound like misunderstanding. There were board meetings that lasted too long and ended with votes that felt heavy. Patrick's contracts were terminated. Kendra's advisory role vanished overnight. A few vendors dissolved like mist when formal requests went out, which told everyone everything they needed to know. Elise disappeared from social media for the first time in her life. Kendra tried to call me from different numbers. I didn't answer. Patrick sent one email, long and furious and full of threats dressed as concern. Dominic replied with a single paragraph that included the phrase preservation notice, and I never heard from Patrick again directly. One afternoon, I returned to Mercer Storage, not to open the unit, but to close it properly, to end the lease, to sign the final forms like an adult taking care of the mess other people made. Lena was at the counter. She looked at me and nodded once. "You okay?" she asked, like she genuinely wanted to know. I considered lying, old habit. Then I said, "I'm not sure," because it was the truth. Lena gave a small, tired smile. "That's the first honest answer you can give after something like this," she said. "Better than pretending you're fine." When I walked back to my car, the air was cold and clean, and I realized my body felt lighter in a way it never had. Not because life was suddenly easy. Because the story my family had told for years, that I was less, that I was lucky to be included, that I should be grateful for scraps, had finally been confronted by the only thing stronger than their confidence. A record, a trail. A system built by a woman who understood that people like Kendra and Patrick don't fear yelling. They fear documentation. Months later, when the foundation awarded its first round of scholarships under the new controls, I attended the ceremony quietly and sat in the back row. I watched a girl in a thrifted blazer walk up to the podium to accept a grant that would let her start nursing school. I watched her mother cry into her hands, shoulders shaking. I watched the board members applaud like they meant it. And I thought of Elena, how she had looked on that video, tired and clear-eyed, refusing to let her legacy be rewritten. After the ceremony, I stepped into the hallway where the framed photos hung. Faces, names, futures. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt clean. For the first time, the silence around me didn't feel like punishment. It felt like space. It felt like my own life finally had room to expand without someone trimming it down to fit their comfort. And if you're still listening right now, I want you to remember something Elena taught me without ever saying it directly. Being quiet doesn't mean you're powerless. Sometimes it just means you're gathering evidence. This is Epic Reddit Files, and if you want more stories where the least important person in the room ends up holding the one thing nobody else can argue with, stay close. More are coming.